Right now, police from around North Texas begin their journey to say goodbye to a fallen officer. The procession is now underway. Tonight, we are hearing from the mother of the man that officer was trying to save.
I'm hurt and I'm lost, and I want to know answers why.
Plus, breaking news, a live look at Capitol Hill, where we are minutes away from another government shutdown. Why it's looking impossible to avoid right now.
I'm Brian Curtis in South Korea, just hours away from the opening ceremony. The political showdown shaping up inside Olympic Stadium.
You're watching NBC 5 News.
We start with breaking news from Tarrant County. A police chase ended with an Everman officer opening fire and hitting two suspects, according to Fort Worth police. We'll have a live report in just a few minutes.
Now to our other big story. Texas Sky Ranger is live right now, as you see, over a procession for fallen Richardson police officer David Sherrard. Officers from several departments, including Dallas and Plano, are helping out as Sherrard's body is moved to a funeral home in Dallas. And sadly, this is becoming the norm as agencies are sharing the grief and the escort duties. Good evening, everyone. I'm Meredith Land.
I'm Christy Nelson. Officer Sherrard, a 13-year veteran of the police force, was shot and killed last night as he responded to a disturbance call at an apartment complex.
Today, his wife said on Facebook, he seriously was the greatest man in this earth. He loved me more than I ever deserved, and I'm broken. Officer Sherrard died while trying to save 30-year-old Renee Gamez, who was also killed last night.
And tonight, Renee's family is talking to NBC5. Meredith Yeomans is at the Richardson Police Department with more. Meredith.
Even at this hour, the size of this memorial continues to grow. We have seen people nonstop coming down here to pay respects to Officer Sherrard, people writing notes to the officer and his family and leaving flowers and balloons. And not far from here tonight, the mother of Renee Gamez is grieving. She told us Renee was killed by a friend. He was trying to help. It isn't the normal order of life. A mother forced to bury her only son.
You can lose your parents, your aunts and uncles, but when you lose a child, that is the worst empty feeling I've ever felt.
When it comes to her son, Judy Laura says what you see is what you get. A friendly, hard-working 30-year-old who was always willing to help.
If you needed a place, he gave you a place to stay.
Brandon McCall was that person this past Tuesday night.
My son asked me, said, hey, Brandon's going to spend the night. He needs a place. I don't want him out in the cold. And I was like, oh, okay. So I gave Brandon a pillow and a blanket.
She says she never imagined Renee's good deed would end like this.
This is the thanks my son got.
Her son shot dead at the apartment where he welcomed the suspected shooter hours earlier.
I don't know how to accept it right now. I'm hurt and I'm lost, and I want to know answers why. Why did you take my baby away?
Laura says she's leaning on her daughter and her faith to push past the pain and will never forget her last conversation with Renee.
The last words I heard was, I love you, Mama, and I missed you.
Laura says she has no idea what started the argument between her son and McCall, but earlier today we did speak with one of McCall's relatives who lives in Plano. We were told those relatives tried to put McCall through college, but say he wouldn't go. They even called him lazy. He moved out of their house, and they say he hasn't had a stable home ever since. But despite that, the relative told me today they never imagined he would do anything like this. In Richardson, Meredith Yeomans, NBC5.
All right, Meredith, thank you. And back to Texas Sky Ranger, you can see the procession for Officer Sherrard is making its way down 75 in Dallas right now. The highway is shut down in parts. This is a way to honor this fallen officer. And this is the first time the Richardson Police Department has had to deal with the line of duty death of one of its own.
Noel Walker is live at the Collin County Medical Examiner's office. And Noel, they are getting a lot of support tonight.
Christy, this long goodbye for Officer Sherrard started moments ago from here as officers from neighboring North Texas police departments met here to escort the officer's fallen body to the funeral home. Now, if we take a live look, Texas Sky Ranger is overhead. If you are on I-75 or anywhere near it, you can't miss this sight of a long line of police lights and cars escorting the hearse to the funeral home. We know this motorcade, this procession down 75 includes officers from Dallas, McKinney, and Plano. There are also fire departments from Fairview, Allen, and Plano that are on overpasses as this procession passes on its way to the Restland Funeral Home. Now, earlier tonight, the officers quietly gathered here at the Collin County Medical Examiner's office. This is a solemn occasion and a trip no officer takes alone. We know that I-75 will remain open during this procession, but again, if you are on I-75 or know someone who is or anywhere near it, it's hard to miss. This is definitely a solemn occasion and one that they take seriously. Reporting live in Collin County, Noelle Walker, NBC 5.
All right, Noelle, thank you. And tonight, 26-year-old Brandon McCall is charged with capital murder. Last August, Dallas police say a family member called 911 saying that McCall was threatening to jump off of a bridge. Officers took him to a medical facility for treatment. On NBCDFW.com, we posted ways for you to help Officer Sherrard's family, including the Guns and Hoses Foundation of North Texas. Search Richardson on NBCDFW.com. We are continuing to follow breaking news right now. We're learning more about the police chase that ended with 2 people shot in Tarrant County.
Corey Smith just got to the scene in Fort Worth. Corey, what have you learned so far?
Well, Christy, we do know that Everman police are investigating an officer-involved shooting. First things first, they tell us that no officers were shot in this incident and no officers have been injured. Now, details are still limited at this point, but what I can tell you is that this all started as a chase that began in Everman but ended here in Fort Worth. I'm going to step out of the way and show you exactly what is left of this scene. There you can see what appears to be a white Mustang that is slammed into a light pole. We are outside of an apartment complex here in Fort Worth, but that is where this chase ended. Fort Worth police telling us that an Everman police officer opened fire on those suspects during this chase, hitting both of them. One of them was taken to JPS in Fort Worth and is in serious condition. Now, we just heard from police and hope to have some more information for you, hopefully within the next 5 to 10 minutes, so be sure to keep up on NBCDFW.com for any updates. But we can say that in this officer-involved shooting in Everman, no police officers were injured. Again, 2 suspects shot, one of them at JPS Hospital in Fort Worth in serious condition. We're live in Fort Worth. Corey Smith, NBC 5.
Corey, thank you. A live look now at Capitol Hill, and we are just minutes away from another federal government shutdown. Here's a look at the countdown clock. We've got about 17 minutes left. Both the Senate and the House would still need to pass a spending bill to stop it from happening, and that is not likely. We're keeping track of these developments in Washington, and in a few minutes we'll take a closer look at what comes next. The 2018 Winter Olympics are underway in Pyeongchang, South Korea. You saw figure skating and skiing live tonight in prime time. And while our day is ending here, some key competitions are just getting started over there.
Our Brian Curtis joins us live from Olympic Park. Brian, you are just hours away from the opening ceremony, not us so much.
Yeah, that's right, Meredith and Christy. We are 15 hours ahead of North Texas. You can see behind me, the Olympic Park here is open. The crowd and the excitement is building. And you know, this opening ceremony is shaping up as one of the most memorable in a very long time. It is always dramatic, but this time we have a political backdrop. The home team, always the last in the Parade of Nations. We expect a roar of approval when North and South Korea march in together as a unified team. Then you have the fact that Vice President Mike Pence will be in the stadium, along with the sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. They will reportedly be seated near each other, so all eyes will be on both of them to see if there's any kind of interaction. But let's talk about the real reason we're here, the competition. It's well underway. You just watched American Nathan Chen in the team figure skating event. It is the first appearance of the games for one of Team USA's brightest superstars. Chen's the favorite, for the gold in the men's competition, but tonight, as you saw, he really struggled, finishing in 4th place. But other American skaters still to come in the team competition. The U.S. in a pretty good position at this point. We're also keeping a close eye on our Texas athletes. We talked to speed skater Jonathan Garcia. This is his 2nd Olympics. He says he's ready to go.
The hard work's done. You know, nothing's going to change now. The best thing I can do is rest as much as I possibly can and focus mentally on my race. But as far as hard training, like that stuff's over. So it's just we're sitting back, relaxing.
Now, Jonathan doesn't skate until next week. That is perfect because he can enjoy the opening ceremony. That can be hard on the athletes, Meredith and Christy, because they're standing outside in the cold for a long time. The forecast, it will be in the mid-20s. I'll send it back to you.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. There is some good news that relates to Katie Ulander, our skeleton athlete, Brian.
Yeah, that's right. 45 Russian athletes suspected of doping. They had appealed to be allowed to compete here in Pyeongchang. That appeal was denied. So one of those athletes, the one Katie lost the bronze medal to in Sochi, she will not be here. So that is good news for Katie Ulander.
All right, Brian, thank you so much. Have a great day. And don't miss the opening ceremony tomorrow night in prime time. We'll show it at 7 o'clock right here on NBC 5.
It was a nice day today. Tomorrow will be even nicer, but then guess what? A cold front is going to impact our weekend. Maybe some freezing drizzle. I'll show you where.
Plus, kiss your cheap wireless plan goodbye while the 2 most aggressive low-cost carriers may be changing their ways.
Then find out which North Texas city is launching a new push to own the state's music scene.
And some breaking news. We're keeping track of a possible government shutdown minute by minute here. Political reporter Julie Fine is here with what this means for us. That's up next. Back to Capitol Hill now, where the government is still heading toward a shutdown. The deadline right now is in 12 minutes. 11 o'clock Central Time. It is imminent. The Senate hasn't even voted on the budget deal yet, and it has to get through the House as well.
Let's bring in political reporter Julie Fine. She's here to explain. How did we get to this again?
Well, tonight the reason is actually Senator Rand Paul. He's been holding all of this up. Earlier today, it looked like the Senate would vote this afternoon and the House soon after. But Paul decided to take this stand. He believes there's too much spending in the new budget deal. And so because of his hours-long protest, it could be 1 a.m. before the Senate is able to take a vote on the bill. Then from there, it goes back to the House. House members are expected to take their vote sometime after 3 a.m. So there'll be a short-term shutdown. And it looks like the House does have the votes to get this through in the early morning hours when the bill gets to them. But some members are still holding out, concerned that this new bill does not include legislation to protect dreamers. House Speaker Paul Ryan said he thinks the House will get this done, a deal that boosts military and domestic spending by about $300 billion over a 2-year period. But there will likely be a short-term lapse before they get there, so there will be some sort of shutdown. It should go into the early morning hours if the Senate can get this over to the House.
All right, Julie, thanks so much.
And be curious to see what effect this has on Wall Street after another massive meltdown just today. The Dow dropped more than 4%, the 1,000-point plus loss, the second largest single-day point drop in market history, and the second loss of more than 1,000 points in a week. Today's dramatic sell-off erased all the market's gains since late November. Checking North Texas companies now. Southwest Airlines closed down 4% today. American lost more than 5%. ExxonMobil closed down just over 1%.
A Florida man says his Apple AirPods earphones blew up while he was at the gym. The good news, he wasn't actually wearing them at the time of the alleged mini explosion. The man says he was listening to music as he worked out and noticed smoke. And he says he put the AirPods down on a piece of workout equipment and walked away. And when he returned, was shocked to find the right earbud blown apart and charred. An Apple spokeswoman said the company is investigating.
Well, your cheap wireless phone plan may be getting pricier. Sprint and T-Mobile, 2 of the most aggressive carriers, failed to merge, and that means rates that affect your bill may be going up. T-Mobile announced it will be more selective with the deals that it offers. Sprint says it will only chase new customers that are profitable.
Congressman Mark Veazey of Fort Worth introduced a briefly worded bill today that he calls the Parade Act. Parade being an acronym for Preventing Allocation of Resources for Absurd Defense Expenditures. It's a response to President Trump's request this week that the Pentagon plan a big military parade down Pennsylvania Avenue. Veazey, a Democrat, introduced the legislation to keep taxpayers from having to foot the bill. It reads, none of the funds appropriated or made available for the Department of Defense or for the White House or the Executive Office of the President may be used for a covered parade.
It looks like Sandra Bullock's biopic about former State Senator Wendy Davis's filibuster will not be welcome inside the Senate chamber. According to the Austin American-Statesman, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick told a conservative group he will not let them film inside because, in his words, they have already disgraced it once. The group in charge of the Capitol grounds says filming decisions are up to the Senate, which Patrick does, in fact, lead.
New tonight, Fort Worth's music scene is blowing up as more artists are making a name for themselves on the national stage.
Today, the Convention and Visitors Bureau announced a lineup of 13 musicians who will showcase the city's growing talent at the Austin Music Fest, South by Southwest. Alice Barr shows us a taste of Fort Worth's new calling card.
America. You might not see it, but if you know where to look, you'll find a doorway to the soul of Fort Worth.
It was hidden, but there's so many artists that are blazing forth that you can't really hide it anymore.
The city's growing music scene is full of color and texture.
Very eclectic right now.
Oh my gosh, happening.
A bowling pot of amazing soup.
And now that mix of talent is heading to South by Southwest with an all-Fort Worth house showcasing the city's creativity from music to technology and beyond.
When you've got an Uber flying taxi being developed by Bell Helicopter and the best whiskey in Texas, we're going to put it all together.
The city's marketers are looking for ways to raise the Fort Worth profile and draw in more big business. They see these talented young musicians as a calling card.
The ability for a community to thrive, to attract talent, to drive innovation, to attract corporations, it's all about creativity.
Creativity breeds itself, and the artists here can feel that momentum building.
People are actually coming to Fort Worth to play music instead of leaving to go play music.
It's the, the artistic mouth of the city. Like this is kind of how we explain ourselves to people not from here.
And more people are listening. In Fort Worth, Alice Barr, NBC 5.
Fort Worth giving Austin a bit of a run for its money.
Definitely. All right, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rick Mitchell. Rick, nice tomorrow, but...
But, there's always that but, yeah. The next cold front comes in over the weekend. No rain out there right now. Maybe some drizzle over the weekend, perhaps even freezing drizzle. Not a sure bet. Hang with me, I'll explain. Nice tomorrow. Cold front comes in Saturday. Temperatures will reach their high early in the day and then fall. So be prepared for that on Saturday. Patchy freezing drizzle is possible late Saturday night into early Sunday. Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that. And then turning milder again next week. Temperatures tomorrow morning, this is at 6:45. Not quite as cold as what they were this morning. We're looking at temps in the mid-40s for the most part. Warming into the upper 60s, lower 70s. I'm thinking right around 70, 71 DFW. A little cooler to the east. I think you're going to see some cloud cover that'll be rather stubborn. No doubt, Friday will be our nicest day. Then we get that cold front in here Saturday. Sunday, a chilly day, but then we start heading back up into early next week. This is Futurecast, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Notice the clouds from Dallas on to the east. Now, they're going to probably thin out around the Dallas area, but they may hang pretty tough just east of us. That's why it'll be warmer to the west and a little cooler to the east. Now we're into Saturday. This is Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. Relatively mild, but here comes the cold front. It sweeps on through. Temperatures behind it will fall. And as we get into Saturday evening and overnight, Futurecast indicating a few spots of perhaps patchy drizzle. This would be Saturday evening. A little drizzle around here, maybe some freezing drizzle just to the north, but by Sunday morning, it could be an expansive area of some patchy, light freezing drizzle. This is not a sure bet, but if you plan on doing some traveling, just kind of keep this in mind. We're going to update it through the day tomorrow as well. Forecast tonight, mainly clear or clear to partly cloudy, a low of 44. Tomorrow, morning clouds giving way to sunshine in the afternoon, except if you're east of Dallas, might stay kind of cloudy. 71 for the high. Then the cold front comes in. We're 54 on Saturday, but temperatures will fall into the 40s for the afternoon. 41 on Sunday for a high temperature. And again, that patchy freezing drizzle not out of the question. Monday, we start warming back up, 52, 62 on Tuesday. Valentine's Day, Wednesday. Guys, get ready. Just a low chance of showers and about 60 for the high. Because, see, I know the ladies are all prepared for Valentine's Day.
Are we?
It's the guys that have to catch up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Get with the program.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Rick.
you.
A white diamond, billed as the largest and purest of its type, is expected to fetch more than $33 million.
It's huge, 102 carats. Sotheby's says it was mined in Botswana and is the only known flawless, round, brilliant cut diamond over 100 carats. The diamond is on display in London. It's being offered for private sale. You can't wear that on your finger. I guess you can wear it on your neck.
Make your hand fall.
Big old.
Sanui is here. Sanui, the Mavericks looking to get a little younger?
Yes, it's the things that we have to do. You got to get a little bit younger all the way around. All right, the Mavericks traded away Devin Harris. He's a fan favorite. General Manager Donnie Nelson shares his thoughts on why they made the move.
NBC5 Sports Connection, presented by the 2017 Nissan Titan.
The Mavericks made a move at the trade deadline. They sent guard Devin Harris to the Denver Nuggets as a part of a three-way trade. In return, the Mavs got small forward Doug McDermott from the New York Knicks. Arlington native Emmanuel Mudiay was also involved in the deal. He was sent from Denver to New York. The Nuggets are sending a second-round draft pick to Dallas. Here's General Manager Donnie Nelson on the deal.
Difficult day, to say the least, but this is an opportunity for Devin to play for a team that's fighting for the playoffs. Give us an opportunity to take a look at a really good young player that we were high on.
The Mavericks are in the Bay Area tonight, taking on the world champion Golden State Warriors. Dennis Smith Jr. blown by Zaza Pachulia for the two-hand flush. He had 15 points in the first half. Right now, we're all tied at 60, and they're starting the third quarter. Dallas Stars taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Tyler Seguin, 2 goals in the first, on the ninth, including that empty netter. He has 28 goals on the season. Stars win 4-2, and they sweep the Chicago Blackhawks. By the way, Ben Bishop had 37 saves tonight in the victory. It was the Stars' 4th win of the in a row, and the Stars are going to host the Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins on Friday night. Coming up, DeMarcus Ware may be in line for another big honor. I will explain after the break. Big things could be ahead for DeMarcus Ware. He confirmed that he's had discussions with Cowboys owner Jerry Jones about being inducted into the Cowboys Ring of Honor, but he did not give us any details. The NFL Draft is coming to AT&T Stadium April 26th through the 28th, where, along with the original 88 Drew Pearson of NBC5 Sports, will serve as community ambassadors for several youth outreach initiatives.
For both of them, I think they are outstanding spokespeople for the NFL, for the Cowboys, and for the game itself.
TCU men's hoops team they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. They're sitting in 7th place in the Big 12 Conference with a 4-7 record in the conference. TCU will host Texas Saturday afternoon.
Obviously a game we need to win, they need to win, and part of being in the best league in basketball. So, I feel good about our guys.
SMU basketball team in action tonight facing Houston. Jamal McMurray with 17 points to lead the Saints, but not enough. Houston wins 67-58. That's your Sportscast. We're going to be right back with more news.
Right now, it is just about 11:07, close to 11:08. That's after midnight in Washington, and the government has officially shut down. You're looking live at the Capitol. The Senate is supposed to be back from recess to take a vote any minute now.
And after that, the House will vote in a few hours. Leaders say they think they have a deal to pass it, but they are still some holdouts there. All right, back to Texas, Sky Ranger. Now, you can see the procession for Richardson police officer David Sherrard is still underway, passing through the Richardson area along Highway 75. It has nearly reached Westland Funeral Home in Dallas, where a line of officers are waiting. You can find more ways to help Officer Sherrard's family at NBCDFW.com.
Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.